In this video, I'm going to give you a full review and breakdown of Audio Trip's cardio update for the Oculus Quest 2. So stick around because you're going to see me dance today. Hey folks, welcome back to another exciting episode of Fit Pro VR. My name is Ari, and before we do anything, what I'd like you to do is hit subscribe down at the bottom if you're interested in continuing to get more fitness tips from a true fitness professional. I put out videos every single week, so hit subscribe, hit the bell. You'll get notified whenever I put out a video. It's usually Monday, sometimes Wednesday, depending on how busy my week is. Okay, let's get started. So you may have heard of Audio Trip Cardio, or you might not have. In my opinion, this is the best fitness game that you're probably not playing right now. So Audio Trip Cardio is definitely a dance style game. You're gonna think Synth Riders when you're looking at this, but it moves a little bit faster than Synth Riders. Just a heads up, I'm not gonna be covering the full game of Audio Trip. I'm only going to be covering the Audio Trip Cardio update because it is very different, and you're going to see later on in this video, so stick around. I'm going to do side-by-side comparisons of all the different songs. So Audio Trip is a Synth Riders, Beat Saber, dance style game. You're basically two controllers in your hand and you're moving them from side to side trying to match the rhythm. If you're looking at the screen, you're probably thinking it looks very similar to Synth Riders, but as we all know, looking at the video of a virtual reality environment is vastly different than actually playing the game. It just doesn't compare. One of the big differences I noticed between Synth Riders and Audio Trip is that in Audio Trip, you're basically in a moving environment. So if you're prone to motion sickness, Audio Trip might trigger something like that while you're playing because it moves really fast. If you've played the Muse algorithm experience on Synth Riders, that's going to be similar to what you're going to get with every single song on Audio Trip. So it is a very, very immersive environment, much more so than Beat Saber or Synth Riders is. But every single song is going to be like this. The environments are going to match the song, and you're going to see a lot of different effects, flashing lights, crazy things flying at you in the sky. And for me personally, I think that is awesome because unfortunately, when I played the Synth Riders Muse algorithm update, it kind of ruined the rest of the game for me. Then they did try to come back and do it again with the Offspring, but for me, it didn't hit the same buttons. But Audio Trip scratches that itch. If you want that Synth Riders experience, that Muse algorithm experience, every single song is going to feel not completely like that, but it's going to feel a lot more like that than the rest of the game would in Synth Riders. The other small detail is you're hitting triangles instead of spheres or orbs or whatever you want to call them. I know it's a minor difference, but for me, as someone who's not very inclined to rhythm, and you're going to see that later, how rhythmically challenged I am, that your colors are different, your shapes are different, and sometimes it's a trick of the brain. If you're somebody who's used to playing a game with red and blue, or purple and green, or whatever, you do have to get used to some of the controls, and I'm not sure if you can change them. I haven't tried to change them yet. In fact, I've started playing Audio Trip so much that I've gone into Beat Saber and changed my colors to match Audio Trip rather than the other way around. So basically, you're in this game, you're trying to achieve a high score. It's not going to be anything life-changing. It's nothing crazy different than Synth Riders or Beat Saber. It's going to be, you're trying to get an accuracy score, you're trying to get a completion score. How much percent did you complete it? How accurate were your hits on each one of the targets? But the cool thing about Audio Trip is it takes a lot of different elements from different fitness styles and it pushes them all together, especially in the cardio update. For example, it's not only just placing your hands in the right position, it also has you hitting side to side and then drumming down. So these are also going to be elements you might see from like FitXR, where you're adding some boxing into it. There's going to be some lunges, there's going to be some squats, and there's definitely going to be a full shoulder range of motion, which I don't see much in the other games, where you're really testing the limits of your shoulder girdle in that your arm is going completely around as much as it can. It's going to feel very similar to a Zumba inspired workout. So there's going to be fitness stuff, there's going to be dance stuff, but it depends on how well you can react to the different movements and put them all together. As you learn the patterns, obviously you get better at them, just like any game that you'll play. But you definitely have to want to dance, or at least feel like you're dancing, to enjoy this game. So if you're not somebody who likes dancing, you might not actually like this game very much. In fact, beyond Zumba, it even has some Bhangra inspired workouts, and there's some cool songs in here that I really recommend. Another cool thing I did notice about this is this game beats pretty much every single game that I've played so far in the leg department, if you're doing it correctly and your squats are going as low as they can. Now, this game automatically calibrates based on your height, and it really does push the limits on how low you can squat and how long you can hold a lunge. Now, there are times where you're holding a lunge and you're hitting, and then there's other times where you're just squatting really fast. But the thing I like about this that a lot of games don't do, it positions your hand along with the leg movement on occasion. So sometimes you'll be in a deep left side lunge and you'll have to bring your hand close to the floor on that left side lunge. It really does incorporate a lot more isometric leg holding, and that's both a blessing and a curse depending on where you are in your fitness journey. So for me personally, this game is awesome, but there are a few faults. Of course, I'm reviewing it. I have to go over the things that I don't like about it. And the first thing I really don't like about that, it is so limited. There's only 20 songs. The game is $20. You get 20 songs, which for me, that's a deal. Don't get me wrong. I think that's a great price. $1 a song. You really can't beat that. I mean, you go to an Orange Theory Fitness and you're going to pay $25 for the single class, let alone getting the songs to have and do the workout over and over again. So I'm not complaining about the price. I think the price is awesome, and I think they did a great job pricing it, especially since it's not just the cardio game. It's also the rest of the dance game, which again, I'm not going to get into much today. There's a lot more leg. The rhythm is a lot different. It's less complicated with the hands, but it does push the pace a little bit harder. It is a valid and cool update that really does make you work harder, which is why I'm going to talk about the name Cardio Update is the perfect name because it delivers exactly what it says it does, cardio. The thing I like about the Cardio Update is it doesn't bring your heart rate too high. At least for me personally, it doesn't bring my heart rate too high. In fact, it keeps me in that endurance level of heart rate, fitness endurance level of heart rate, and that's kind of the purpose of it, is cardio. When you're doing cardio and you're like, let's say you're doing running or biking or rowing or swimming, whatever, your goal is to keep your heart rate at a steady pace. It's called steady state cardio, or LSS, long steady state. Now, a lot of games, they don't do that, but they say they do. Let's take Supernatural, for example. Love it. I still play it. Don't get me wrong. Supernatural is awesome. But it does often say you're getting a cardio workout, when the reality is in Supernatural, you're more than likely getting a high intensity interval workout where your heart rate goes up and then it goes down a little bit, and goes up and then goes down. That's very different than cardio. If you're looking for pure cardio, Audio Trip Cardio is the way to go here. In fact, what I like to do sometimes is switch up my days, and I'll do Supernatural for my high intensity day, and then I'll do Audio Trip for my cardio day. And in fact, I can play Audio Trip a lot longer than I can play Supernatural on hard, because it leaves your arms pretty smoked and it can be a little rough on the shoulder sometimes. Whereas Audio Trip, it's pretty fluid throughout and you're not going to feel like you're completely smoked afterwards. You're going to be drenched in sweat, at least I am, and you're going to get a workout from it, but it's not going to be as high impact as something like a Supernatural would be. The other thing about this is if you're somebody with a limited range of motion in your shoulders, your hips, your knees, if you have knee pain while squatting, you probably won't get the most out of this game. That's somebody who does have a full range of motion. I'm lucky enough to where my shoulders, my knees, my hips, my back are all in fairly decent shape. I mean, little aches and pains here and there, but I can run through the full range of motion without any issues. And I can get a good workout from this because of that. This game is going to have you squatting really low and putting you in positions that if you can't really go to, you're not going to really enjoy it too much. So you do have to have a pretty good range of motion for your hips, shoulders, and back for this. You also have to have a pretty good reaction time for this. It doesn't have levels. So for example, when you're doing the cardio update, there's not different levels of cardio update. There's only one level of cardio update. So if you're not somebody who plays rhythm games a lot it might be difficult for you to jump right into the cardio update. You may have to go back and kind of ease your way into it by playing the audio trip game itself, which is fine. I think that's great, but I wish that there were different levels of the cardio update. I don't know that it could get much harder. I mean, for what it is, I think the level that it has right now is the hardest, but I do think there could be an easier or no squat mode, which, you know, would take away from some of the actual workout intensity, but at the same time, it may need to be there for some people. I think they make a lot of assumptions that everyone can do a deep squat and everyone has a full shoulder range of motion when the reality is that's not always the case, especially for someone who might be new to virtual reality and trying to incorporate this as a first-time workout. Another thing that I wish Audio Trip had was a continuous playlist. I wish there was a way I could do a cardio party where I just start at the top of the songs and just kind of keep moving through. Typically what you have to do is once a song is over, you see your accuracy, you see your completion, you see a cheeky little message from the developer saying, good job, nice try, almost a good job, you know, stuff like that. But I do wish that I could put it on like Cardio Party or something and then let all the songs play through, or even just in random order. I think that it would be a lot more fun if like I could get surprised by the next song and not have to kind of shuffle through and see what's next. So the big takeaway from me here was that I do feel like after playing this a lot for the last few weeks, like I really did dive into this and play it a lot. I didn't just play it the once and give you the, you know, the one review. This does feel like one of those 80s workouts, those like 80s, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about your That's It's with Tony Britz. I'm talking about your Judy Shepherd Jazzercise. I'm talking about your Crystal Light Aerobic Championships. I'm even talking about my man, my inspiration, the reason I'm in fitness, Richard Simmons. In fact, you know what would be awesome? What if I took the data from an 80s workout video and then I took the data that I collected from my audio trip and see how they compare? Why not? I'm not doing anything. It's a pandemic. So as you can see here, I'm not a great dancer. I know what you're thinking. You look at me and you go, that guy's probably an amazing dancer, but I'm here to tell you, and I'm not afraid to show you that I'm not a great dancer. But there's one thing that I do love, and it's Richard Simmons and it's 80s Blast Off. So I went ahead and did a 30-minute 80s Blast Off workout with Richard Simmons, and you're gonna see that the data is not comparable. Obviously, I got a better workout from the Audio Trip Cardio than I did from Richard Simmons' 80s Blast Off, but I will take any excuse to do Richard Simmons videos. Richard Simmons is my bae. He's my fitness inspiration, and again, he's one of the reasons that I'm into the fitness world I am today. When I was coming up as a physical education teacher, I had interacted with him on Twitter before he went kind of recluse on us, and he had given me some advice on how to teach and on how to differentiate for students that were morbidly obese, and it really did help me a lot. So in conclusion, Audio Trip Cardio Update is phenomenal. Before you go, if this video was something that you enjoyed and you want to see more of, hit subscribe, hit like. I respond to pretty much all the comments, so go ahead and comment down below. It helps my algorithm, it helps me get seen, and it helps me deliver true fitness tips from a real fitness professional. There's a lot of fitness nonsense out there right now, especially as it pertains to VR. I'm here to give you my 10 plus years of experience in the fitness world and make it digestible so you're armed with the right tools in making decisions in fitness, diet, nutrition, etc. My name is Ari with FitPro VR, and don't forget to get your workout in today.